Good morning. Hello. Welcome. I'm Jim Munchbach, and this is Personal Finance at the University of Houston Bauer College of Business. Hopefully, my audio is working. I am about to start the Zoom room. Looks like we have a couple of folks waiting to get in. Recording in progress. Let's see. Welcome aboard, Julissa. Hey, Julissa. Welcome. We're about to get started. On we should be live on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. I just found out that we're no longer live on X because I canceled my premium subscription. I should have done that a while ago, probably. We'll see how that works. Anyway, welcome. This is week number 2, and we are in budgeting. So let me see if I can. We're a little early, by the way, and I am hoping to get everything working. There we go. I think got my screens all set up. Let's see what it looks like from here. Yep, there you go. That's the system. Let's see if we got the iPad going. Just doing a little system check right now. This is the iPad. All right. This is today's lesson, how to budget. So let us get to the right place. Again, it's a little early. It's now 10 a.m., so we'll get started in a minute. Jalissa, can you hear me okay on Zoom? I see that we're... okay, cool, thanks. I'm looking for the chat. All right. You're the only one we have on Zoom, so welcome. Zoom is, it's here for questions. If you have any questions, it's a great way to ask questions. But typically, if you're on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, you'll get better video. I don't know why, but hopefully the video and the audio are good, but welcome aboard. So I usually don't get started until about 5 minutes after because in the past I've been waiting for folks to join on Zoom. But I'm going to just get started because I want to get started, and the folks who live stream, since this is an asynchronous course, we're live streaming, and uh, lots of students will watch this at their own time. So on demand is kind of what the asynchronous is all about. So there you have where you can find this video. It's not going to be in that playlist until it finishes, and then I'll jump in and make sure that it gets saved to the correct playlist, which is uhplaylist.com. That will redirect you right to this semester's playlist. And this is fall 2025, and this is week number 2, and we're going to talk about budgets. But first, I want to share with you a little bit of what's going on in my life just for fun. See if this works. There we go. So I actually live in a metal box in the woods. My wife and I live in a state park. So if you have ever camped in a Texas state park, what you're seeing there is a little of our time at Brazos Bend State Park. We have been doing this for a couple of years. It's on my wife's bucket list to be a volunteer park host. So, since she is a retired teacher, she gets to do this full time. Uh, and I get to do it throughout the week. Sometimes I have a couple hours here and there, and I'll jump in a gator. Not that kind of gator, but the John Deere gator. I'll jump in a gator and I'll go do fun stuff in the park, fix stuff, work on stuff, clear a trail, fix a gator, fix a tractor, whatever. That's my skill set. I fix stuff. So anyway, this is some video that I was able to take at the Brazos Bend State Park when I was out on an alligator. Uh, we were looking for alligators with my grandson Caleb. That's my wife Connie. She's on a grasshopper doing my favorite job of all in a state park, which is cut grass on one of those gizmos. It's called a grasshopper, and it's a very cool machine. So anyway, that's the rig that we live in, and I just moved that this weekend. Was a big move because we ended one assignment. We were staying living at the Lake Livingston State Park, and now we've moved to Stephen F. Austin State Park. This footage you're looking at is actually Brazos Bend State Park, and that's my buddy Jim. He was just showing off on that grasshopper. So anyway, that's that. Let me see. I think I have some. I think this is Stephen F. No, this is Brazos Bend as well. I have it labeled Stephen F. Austin. I have some awesome video from Stephen F. Austin State Park, which is where we're living now. You'll get to see more of that as we move forward. But these bucks, these beautiful bucks, they were hanging out at Brazos Bend State Park. It was a day that we had a ton of rain, and then it stopped raining. The sun came out, and these guys just stood there eating and letting me take a little video of them. I was just, I don't know, 20, 30 feet from these guys. They're just beautiful. So this is my life. This is what I get to do. It's one of the things I'm very thankful about that I get to do. And like I said, we just moved. This weekend I moved. That's a lot of work moving that rig, moving all of our stuff. So yeah, I'm going to show you a picture real quick, and then we'll get to working on the. I'm going to show you a picture if I can. So when we moved, let me see if I can get this to go to my iPad. When we moved, so one of the things I have to do is pack up all our stuff and make a trip from the old park to the new park. And so I did that. And one of the things I load up is my KLR 650 motorcycle. And I loaded on this ramp. And this ramp failed like 1 mile from the destination, Stephen F. Austin State Park. So you can see there that tire looks like it's peeled right off the rim. And when I looked at this, I thought it was going to be a disaster. What happened is this ramp, it just twisted. You can kind of see it in the photos. But anyway, talk about a near catastrophe, disaster, which is what this felt like. When I looked, I watched in my mirrors the whole time I'm driving this big rig down the road, and my motorcycle is standing up tall in the back, and I see it in both mirrors, and I'm watching it constantly. And I turn the corner to Park Road 38, and when I do, my motorcycle isn't in the mirror anymore. It's gone. And then I look down in the mirror and I see my bike, and I see that it's laying basically horizontal like that. And I'm like, oh, I knew that it had scraped along the road, but apparently I got to it just in the nick of time and must have stopped immediately when it happened. And it just bowed over and it didn't have a scratch on it. Even that tire that looks like, I thought for sure that tire was going to be totally flat, but no, the didn't even need air. I got some help. The man who lives in that house right there came out and helped, and I called my friend Marcus, who was just down the street working on an RV. That's what he does, an RV repairman. And he came immediately, and us three dudes picked this bike up, got it off the ramp, and I was able to drive it the rest of the way, no problem. So anyway, that's kind of my life. It was kind of fun. It was actually uh, kind of scary, that part of the trip. Let's see, I have another something I wanted to show you. So this is move-in day. This is a friend of ours, Justin and Rebecca, they're moving into Brazos Bend. So I was out there waiting for them, stalking them, if you will, as they were arriving. So that's their rig. And I probably shouldn't show that because their license plate is there. I forgot. Okay, so we're going to talk about budgets. It's time to get to work. A budget, as you will learn, is a tool to give your money commands, to tell your money what to do. It's a very important tool in personal finance. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about budgets and then just kind of set the table for your assignment this week. But before I do that, I want to talk about last week's assignment. So last week's assignment was saving. Let me see if I can pop that on the screen just for fun. This was your assignment last week, and I think, let's see, that was, let's go to, I'm going to see if I can find savings. Well, I'm not going to find it. So I'm just going to get out of there and hide that. So anyway, last week was savings. Uh, and you guys did your assignment. Now, not all of you did, but probably 20% of you took advantage of the early assignments. And I'm going to put that on the screen real quick and just talk about that. I'm going to talk about this every week, the early assignment option, because here's the thing. I want you to get an A in the course. As you may know, if you watched last week's lecture, this is my last semester to teach personal finance before I take a 1 year sabbatical. And that 1 year sabbatical is, I'm going to focus on building my business, Bayrock. I'm going to focus on finding the right person to hire and train and mentor who will basically take over Bayrock when I retire down the road a couple years from now. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the next year. So when you see these live streams, it will be, instead of teaching personal finance, it will still be uh, lessons in personal finance, but it will also include a lot of content about being a financial advisor and joining the business of giving financial advice as an investment advisor, financial planner. So that's what I'm working on. This is this is my last semester to teach before that sabbatical. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to come back and teach at the University of Houston after that 1 year sabbatical, but I got to tell you this. This week, when I was grading your assignments, those of you who turned them in early, because those are the only ones that got graded so far, uh, and the ones who get, if you did not turn your assignment in early, it's in my queue and I will get to it at some point. But I'm in no hurry to get to those assignments. So just so you know, if you want to get your grade early, if you want to get feedback and be able to make corrections and get 10 extra points, it's a 20% bump. If you want those benefits, then you got to turn it in by Friday at 3 p.m. And if you do that, my commitment to you is I will give you feedback. So if there's anything that could give you a deduction, I will tell you what it is and invite you to fix it before the due date. That's Tuesday at 10 a.m. So if you fix it, you still get the 10 extra points as long as you turn in this resubmit with corrections by the due date, 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. So do that. Get those extra points. Make this an easy A. There's a lot of homework in this week, this semester. It's really easy. Like this week's homework is really easy. So do it early. By the way, those of you who did submit your assignments early, man, I think it's the best set of work I've seen since I've been teaching. I was really impressed. It made me rethink, what am I going to do after this sabbatical? Because it's like I could tell that almost every one of you who turned your assignment in early, you really care about this topic, this idea of learning how to manage money. And it looks like you're into the course. And if you do what I do, if you've been teaching for a while, and I've been teaching for a long time, uh, it gets a little discouraging when teaching boils down to me looking at this camera and talking. My feedback comes when I get to, grade your assignments and I get to read your stories. And so this week was really, part of it is just because I know this is my last semester to teach before I take a sabbatical. So I'm already missing the the goodness that comes from being able to make a difference in someone's life and share what I know from my experience in personal finance, in managing wealth, in managing investments. I get that that's it's a pretty big share, right? It's something I have that I've got to do in my life that I'm grateful for, and it's valuable. My experience, my knowledge, the tools that I'm sharing with you this semester in terms of how you can make a difference in how you manage your money. I get that that's a valuable thing. I'm not just teaching you how to do an oil change. I'm teaching you something that can make a difference in your life. So I appreciate so much your contribution to this course. When you share your story with me and you tell me why this assignment mattered to you, those are things that really inspire me to want to do this even more. And this week I was having big time second thoughts about even taking a sabbatical, but I am taking a sabbatical. I need to do that to prepare my business for the next phase. I owe that to my clients. So anyway, keep up the great work. And if you didn't take advantage of the early assignment, like I said, I'm going to mention this every week because at this end of the semester, inevitably, I will have multiple students, several students, who did not get the grade they wanted in this course. And they're going to ask me to give them extra work, extra assignments. And I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, when you ask me for that extra work on my end to help you because you didn't do any extra work on your end, I'm going to tell you every week from the very beginning of the course, I encouraged you, I begged you to do your assignment early each week so that you could get the extra points, get the extra feedback, and earn an easy A. So that's my call to action for you. If you're not taking advantage of it, that's fine. It's your call. But don't come to me at the end of the semester and ask me to give you extra assignments so you can earn some extra points. This is that opportunity. So turn your assignments in early, please. Okay, back to, I think what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push a button here and it's going to take me to my iPad. Now I'm looking at my iPad. Let me just show you so you can see what I'm working on here. So that's my iPad right there. And when I move that, that's what you're going to see now. So I'm going to jump on my iPad and I'm going to uh, go up here and click on a couple of, let's see, that is the playlist for last semester. Why am I showing you that? Oh, the UH group me. I want to talk about that. I wonder if I can open that. It's probably not going to let me open it without. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm not going to do that right now. Here's what I want to do. Uh, this, not this week, but next week in Money Study Group, you're going to be invited to sign up for Right Capital. So let's see if I can even find, I think I have a Right Capital screen right here. I'm going to jump into that financial planning portal. This is Right Capital. Uh, Right Capital is a technology partner that I use in my firm, Bayrock Financial. It's a great, fantastic financial planning portal. It's a premium financial planning portal. And that's what you're going to use this semester to create a comprehensive, holistic financial plan. I'm going to walk you through that step by step each week. We will build onto your financial plan using this tool, this financial planning software. It's part of the course. It's part of the small fee that you paid for Money Study Group is to have access to this financial planning software called Right Capital. And I want you to see how this works. And so you're going to get started not this week. It's nothing you need to do right now, but some of you have already started and you tried to sign up for Right Capital. So that's fine. If you're ready to do that, no problem. I just want you to know if you did it before this weekend, you got an old link that is no longer good. So you're going to need to do it again. You were a little ahead. I made some edits. Sorry about that. But if you will when you jump into Money Study Group, you're going to see this page called Right Capital Setup Instructions, and I'm previewing that lesson right here. And you're going to see that you have this link. Click here now. That's changed. That link was different last week. So if you did this last week, then you need to do it again. I think when I click on this link, it's going to take me to this page where, yes, now you will be able to sign up. Now, this is not branded with Bayrock. This is just, hopefully this works. We've had some trouble with Right Capital. They've made lots of changes with this process of signing up. So here's what I want to do right now. I want to talk about this week's secret class collaboration. So it is 10:19 a.m. on 2 September. It's already September, year of our Lord 2025. 2 September, September 2nd, and it's 10:20 now. And this is this week's secret class collaboration. By the way, each week we're going to have one of these where it's just going to be kind of random. I'm going to be talking and then I'm going to say, okay, this is this week's secret class collaboration. What that means is somewhere, preferably in Money Study Group, but you could simply use the comments below on, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. I don't really care. But if you care about not having to post to the public internet, then do it inside Money Study Group. That's just fine. But if it's easier for you, post it in YouTube. That's what I would do. And then grab a screenshot. And what I want you to do is post your comment to tell me about this week's class collaboration, which is how do you get set up in Right Capital? And do mention the fact that the link has changed and it's new. And also, like extra points, really, you don't get extra points, but you will get my attention and you will make me very happy if you'll do this. If you will actually go into Money Study Group, set up your Right Capital account, your Bayrock Right Capital account, read the instructions, and tell me that you've done that. So if you'll do that, that's this week's secret class collaboration, is to let me know that Right Capital, the sign up page has changed. So just tell me, how do you sign up for Right Capital? You use the link in Money Study Group where there's a page or a lesson that's called Right Capital Setup Instructions with this link, which has just been updated. And when you do that, you're going to come to a page that kind of looks like this, but it's not going to be branded for Bayrock as you saw just a minute ago. It's just oh, maybe it is. Yeah, it looks like it is. I don't know. Maybe it should be branded for Bayrock, but maybe I need to clear my cache. I don't know. Anyway, you should find this link should work, but I'm not 100% positive that it's going to work. Because like I said, Right Capital has changed a few things. They've made, it's a long story. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it should be way better. Uh, when you sign up, you should go into a group in my financial planning software so that I should be able to find you. Every student who uses this link should go into this specific group, uh, which is cool for me, but it doesn't matter to you. But anyway, so in your this week's class collaboration, just tell me, yeah, I know how to sign up for Right Capital because I explained that in this week's secret class collaboration. But also, here's where you're going to get my attention and make me really, really happy. Go ahead and sign up and just tell me how it worked. And then when you do that, when you give me that comment, whether it's in your assignment or a comment in YouTube, I mean, I will be reviewing your assignment. So when you send me your assignment, I'll see your screenshot for your class collaboration and I'll know if you tell me that you've already signed up and it worked great, or if you had an issue, I'll see that in your assignment. But I will also see it in the comments if you leave it in YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. So there you go. So do that for me, for you. It's not urgent. You don't even have to do that yet. But several students are working ahead. And so I had to go and correct this. And I just, sorry about that, a little housekeeping. So that is that. Let's see. What did I want to do? I had something on my mind. And I'm sorry, but I forgot it. Uh, so this last week's assignment on savings, you guys did great. The ones I reviewed, fantastic work. You learned a lot about saving, which is one of the three laws of personal finance. The first law of personal finance is the law of spending and saving. And the second law is the law of tax advantaged investing. And the third law is the law of purpose and commitment. And I hope you're willing to learn those three laws and just commit them to memory. They're pretty easy. Somewhere in your playlist, there should be the three laws of personal finance. And I just want to take a minute and just kind of review those. By age 50, by obeying three laws of personal finance. The three laws of personal finance are the law of spending and saving, the law of tax-advantaged investments, and the law of purpose and commitment. Some people think this is a very bold claim. Every college graduate can be a millionaire by age 50. When you obey these three laws of personal finance, you discover the truth. Saving $1 million in 30 years is really not mission impossible. The law of spending and saving is the most fundamental principle in personal finance. It's also the most disregarded law of personal finance in American history. Spend less than you earn and save more for what matters most. Ben and Frank became friends at age 19. Ben started saving and investing in a well-managed, low-fee, diverse mutual fund that earned an average return of 12% annually. Ben saved $2,000 a year for 8 years and then he stopped. So he invested $16,000. 8 years times 2 equals $16,000. By the time Ben was 65, his investment grew to $2,288,996. Frank, on the other hand, decided he wanted to spend his money on entertainment, dining out, Starbucks, and a nice new BMW. Frank didn't start saving until 9 years later, so by the time Ben stopped investing, Frank was just getting started. Frank, like Ben, saved $2,000 a year. That's $167 a month or $42 a week. Frank invested his $2,000 every year in the same mutual fund as Ben. Frank continued his spending and saving plan until he turned 65. At that point, he had a total of only $1,532,166. Ben saved and invested $2,000 for 8 years, from age 19 to 26. Ben saved and invested a total of $16,000. Frank started his spending and saving plan at age 27 and kept doing it until he was age 65. Frank saved and invested $78,000, and he never caught up to Ben. The law of spending and saving is the most fundamental law of personal finance. Spend less than you earn and save more for what matters most. The law of tax-advantaged investments is next. The IRS makes the law. Your job is to take advantage of the law by investing in tax-advantaged accounts, like 401k, the most common, simple IRA, SEP, best for sole proprietors or employers with no employees, tax-deductible IRAs, 403b for teachers and nonprofits, 457 for government workers, and tax-free investments, like the Roth IRA for you, your spouse, or your kids who earn money in your cottage industry. The law of tax-advantaged investments lets you spend less on taxes and save more for what matters most to you. The most important law of personal finance is the law of purpose and commitment. When it comes to managing money and life and work and relationships, and did I say money? There's no law more important than the law of purpose and commitment. Most Americans don't spend time thinking about their true purpose, so most Americans never connect their resources to what matters most. Every college graduate can be a millionaire by age 50. Okay, that is the 3 laws of personal finance, and that was probably one of my favorite videos ever to create. it well, I used a cool tool to do that. Uh, anyway, that was the 3 laws of personal finance, and I do hope you'll learn those 3 laws and remember them because they're incredibly helpful. So, what I want to do in the next couple of minutes is uh, I want to talk a little bit about this week's assignment, and it is. I think I got rid of that. Yeah, by the way, thank you for those of you who subscribe to my channel at Jim Munchbach. That is my personal YouTube channel, and it's also where I create playlists of different types. And this playlist for you is uhplaylist.com. So thank you for that and for subscribing and hitting the little bell. I hope you like YouTube. I do. I pay for the premium subscription because I don't like ads, and that seems like a good deal uh, to not have to watch ads. But at any rate, if you're not a YouTube user, I'm not trying to sell you. It's just a convenient platform, and it works for me. I hope it works for you. So check it out. Thank you if you subscribe. Uh, and what oh, so what I wanted to talk about is just this week's assignment. It's really a simple assignment. Most of you, I've found probably a third of the students in this cohort are accounting students, which means you're way better at making a budget than I am. I don't really love budgeting. It's a necessary part of business, and frankly, honestly, I don't have a budget, personal budget. I track my spending. I do track my spending, and that's different than having a budget. Having a budget is a proactive way of you telling your money what it's going to do for you. Some of us, I can only speak for myself. I like I like to know where my money's going, and I have a very clear vision of what I want to accomplish with my money. So I use my money and prioritize my spending on the front end instead of having a budget that kind of feels like I don't know how you feel about budgeting, but a lot of people tell me that they feel it's like being on a diet. Like a budget is telling you what you have to do with your money, but it's really a tool. If it's really a tool, and I want to encourage you to look at it as a tool that you use to proactively give your money marching orders. Regardless of how you feel about a budget, this week you're going to have to create one. And it can be a very super simple budget. I'm really looking for understanding where you are in terms of how you manage your money uh, at this point in your life. So if you've never done a budget, this is going to be a good opportunity for you to figure that out. I'm not going to teach you how to go and I mean there is some content in money study groups, some resources that you're welcome to use, but I'm not going to spend time in the lecture helping you construct a budget because that just wouldn't it's it's something you can do very easily if you have just a little bit of uh, capacity for research and figuring things out. So most of you, like I said, are way better at budgeting than I am, and I anyway, that's your assignment this week, and I'm looking forward to seeing what tools you use to budget. And some of you have some really great tools. One of the things you were asked to do last week, which you should have already done, is identify the tool that you're going to use this semester to track your spending. Now that goes hand in hand with your budget, but the tool that you use to track your spending, it's usually just an app like your bank app, or it could be mint.com. And I did ask you to share with me what tool will you use to track your spending? Because when we get to the end of the semester, assignment number 12, it's called the Blueprint for Financial Success. In order for you to get full credit For that assignment, you're going to have to give me three things related to your spending over this whole semester. Number one, I'm going to want to see the data. If you're using your bank app, that's going to be super easy. You're going to download it. It's going to be a bunch of individual transactions, and you're just going to save that and use and include that in your assignment. And that's number one. Number two is all of those transactions need to be categorized into categories, expense categories, and that's the second thing. You're gonna create a graph, okay? And to do that, you have to have categories. So it's super easy if you're using a tool like your bank app or Mint.com or any other tool designed to track your spending. They're everywhere today. So that's number two. Number three is I want you to share your what you learned this semester by tracking every penny. So that's the goal. That's the kind of part of that assignment. And this budgeting assignment is just it's a simple, easy way for you to create a tool that tells your money where to go. So don't spend too much time if you're don't try to impress me with your budgeting. I don't care. I mean, I do care. If you're really awesome at it, I'll be very impressed and I'll be giving you kudos. But that's not the point of the lesson. The lesson is, and the assignment really is just for you to show me what tool you would use to create a budget. And then be thinking as you go through the semester, hopefully you're using a tool to track your spending that requires no extra labor on your part. Now, some students are convinced that Excel is the best way to track spending. And I, like, always try to discourage you from that because almost always you will lose points in that assignment because you're not going to track your spending like a tool will track your spending. Imagine if you use, like, I use a credit card. I use more than one credit card, but this is one of my credit cards, and I have a business card too. But I know where every penny goes because I don't use uh, I don't use cash. I really don't hardly ever use cash unless I'm just giving it away or sometimes tipping on a trip. But rarely do I even have cash. I have no cash within reach right now. So every penny gets accounted for using my credit cards. You may use a debit card. If you do, then your bank app is what you're going to want to use, and it's going to track every penny you spend, unless you carry around cash, and then you're going to have to figure out a way to account for that. So I want you this semester to commit, and it's going to be, if, like I said, to get the points for that assignment, you're going to have to do it all semester. But I really want you to experience what it's like to be accountable for your money. And so that's kind of what that assignment is for. This assignment, it's just this is just an easy assignment for you to show me how you manage money. One thing I want to mention also, when we get to write capital, uh, and again, this is not something you have to do this week, but I do want you to know that the financial planning portal that you will have access to this semester, it does have a budgeting tool in it. And I'm just going to tell you right now that in order to use that budgeting tool, it's a very robust, helpful tool, and it will link your bank account, your investments, just like Mint.com. So if you're not familiar with Mint.com, you should check that out and just do a quick 5-minute chat GPT to figure out what is mint.com, and then know that the same encrypted bank level security is part of this financial planning tool that you have access to, and it will do the same thing as mint.com. It aggregates all of your accounts. If you just have one account, I'd use your bank app. But if you have multiple accounts like I do, then a tool like mint.com or Right Capital can be a fantastic way for you to see all of your financial information in one place. But here's the thing, you got to do a budget. I probably would not encourage you to use Right Capital to do your budget, but I want you to know it is part of it. It is available, but the only way it works is if you link your accounts. So you'll see when you set up Right Capital, there's a place, and I'll show you how you can link your accounts. But don't send me an email and tell me that you're not comfortable linking your accounts, because I'm telling you now, you don't have to. I don't care if you do or not. But if you want to use the budget tool, you have to link your accounts. Okay, so we'll get more into Right Capital as we move forward this semester. This week's assignment is pretty easy, and you do not need Right Capital to do this week's assignment. I don't think you need Right Capital until the week after next. But again, lots of students like to get signed up and start playing with it, and that's a good idea. So I don't want to discourage you. I want to encourage you to go ahead and do that if you want to, but don't feel pressure. You don't need to. There's other stuff you can do right now. Okay, so we covered the 3 laws of personal finance. Um, we talked a little bit about saving a little bit. I do want to share something that uh, came to me somewhere along the line, and it just seemed so appropriate that I thought it would be a good idea to share it. So let me just play this little clip. Okay, I think that was way too much fun. Sorry about the extra volume there, but every time I watch that, it just makes me smile. It makes me think that this whole deal about personal finance is pretty easy. And the first law of personal finance, the law of spending and saving, well, that little clip covered it pretty well. So that's that. That's pretty much it for this week's lesson. I hope you have a great week. I hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day, Labor Day. Memorial Day was not this last weekend. So thanks for being here. I look forward to reviewing your your assignments for last week and this week. Again, please take advantage of the early assignments. If you haven't been doing that, it's a great way to earn extra points, and I'll mention it. I'll mention it pretty much every week for the next couple of weeks anyway. So do that. It's an early bonus, if you will. By Friday at 3 p.m., turn your assignments in. I'll review them. You'll get a grade much sooner. Those of you who wait until, midnight on Monday night to turn in your assignments, which are due Tuesday at 10 a.m. Every Tuesday at 10 a.m., an assignment is due in this course. If you wait until the night before to turn it in, don't be upset with me for waiting until a week later to grade it, because I get pretty busy and I do my grading typically on the weekend because I do have a business to run. I'm an adjunct, I'm not a full time professor. So I'm just doing everything I can do to help you earn an easy A. And so that's my way of saying, hey, you help me help you, and I'll help you if you help me. So that's it. Early assignments are a thing in this course. And those of you who have taken advantage of it, I thank you. You've done great work, and I can't wait to see the rest of the assignments that are probably in my queue right now. So y'all have a great week. And if you have questions, one thing I forgot, I need to let me see if I can find the. I want to talk about GroupMe for a minute because um, I got I jumped in. A student sent me an email to let me know. I'm looking for my GroupMe, but I don't see it. Sorry. Um, I know I have GroupMe right here. I'll just tell you I'm not logged in. See if it lets me open the app. No, I can't do it. But I just wanted you to know I don't log into GroupMe. Okay, I jump into GroupMe if it's needed, and the way that I know that I need to jump into GroupMe is typically one of you will send me an email and say, "I have this question. Other students have this question, and no one is answering it in GroupMe." And so when that happens, if you'll shoot me a text message, that's the best way to reach me, is a text message. My mobile number, my iPhone, is in the syllabus. So if you need something like that, if you're not getting your question answered and you notice that other students have the same question, then by all means shoot me a text message. but don't send me a message and group me and say, "Hey, professor," because I don't even go into group me. That's for you guys to interact and collaborate. I will go in if I need to, if you ask me to, but I try to stay out of that because I want you guys to have a space where you get to collaborate. That's what it's there for. So ask each other questions, give each other answers. You can even save screenshots from GroupMe and add those to your class collaboration. That impresses me when you're the student who can answer the question. So do that. And by the way, if you do have a question about the course, don't send me a text message. Don't send me an email to ask a question if you haven't already asked it in GroupMe, because most of the time I've already answered the question. And if you're sending me an email to ask a question I've already covered in class, that is a romper room no. So don't do that. Ask and GroupMe and get an answer there. That's what it's for. If you have a question that's not able to be answered in GroupMe, by all means, reach out to me. But don't reach out to me with questions that I've already covered. That kind of causes me to put you on my list of students that I pay close attention to when I grade your stuff to see if you're keeping up. So don't be that student who asks simple questions to your professor because you maybe didn't have time to watch the lecture. The lectures are required. So that's the reason we have the class collaboration too. So don't forget this week's secret class collaboration. It was about Right Capital. How do you sign up for Right Capital? That's this week's secret class collaboration. So if you missed that, rewind, go back and watch it. I'm going to go jump in to YouTube and put this video in the correct playlist, and I will see you next time. Have a great week.